Let's get into it today. We've got some major news for you. And of course, this is all brewing around clarity. And this weekend could actually signal something huge for the market. We're going to break it all down for you. I do want to thank our sponsor today. That is iTrust Capital. This is where you guys can get involved in your own crypto IRA. Very easy to do, very easy to set up. Join iTrust Capital right now. You can get into gold, silver, all sorts of assets, Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP. All of that is available right there on iTrust Capital. Get into it. Self-directed crypto IRA. It's one of the best out there. Use our link down below. It's going to give you a $100 funding reward just to get started. So let's get going into the day. It is a big one right here. The White House set the date. And of course, we've known this date has been coming, but the difference now is there seems to be a acceleration moving toward clarity by March 1st. And it is very clear that they are on cue to get this done. So much so that we're starting to see very interesting things come out of these meetings. One of the things that Eleanor hit on right here, sources say there was a notable difference today. The White House took the lead in driving the discussion rather than letting crypto firms and the banks steer the discussion as in prior meetings. So you probably saw me tweet about this last night. I was on the phone with several of our DC sources. This was the exact sentiment that they talked about, which is that the White House is putting pressure on the banks. Now, many people are saying, well, this means that a potential solution has been resolved between the two industries. This is the question mark that everybody's asking. It's getting so heated, though, that we are starting to see that there is going to be an additional meeting on this weekend. Here's the thing that's interesting. Extra nugget. I agree with this. They're going to have to turn their phones over during the meeting. That means we are getting down to the brass tacks of what matters in this market, probably in the sense that no one can front run what's getting ready to come out of DC. So whether you believe it's going to happen or it's not going to happen, how the market plays into this is going to be huge because many people think that this is priced in. If you look at the current Polymarket, it spiked yesterday up to 82% and then retraced today down to where we're holding right now at time of recording at around 69% as a chance of passing in 26. I think there's a lot of things brewing. There's a lot of information that I think is playing into the market to create some dynamic pressure. What I mean by that is there could actually be some misinformation coming out of the markets to try to either get the markets to respond to it or they just don't want to play their hand just yet. For many reasons, it could affect stock prices on banks. There's all sorts of things that could play into this going into it. And the Clarity Act passing, many people think that it's baked into Bitcoin's price. Some people say this. I am not one of those people. I do not agree that that is what's happening right now. So Anthony is asking the question, what do you guys think? Do you think it's baked in? Just put yes or no down in the comments below. I'd like to get your input. I want to go to a clip real quick because this clip is getting into someone who says that the Clarity Act will not pass. Take a look.
I actually think the answer is the bill's not going to pass. Right. When you get into political fights between large constituencies who have mutually oppositional views, they tend to just not happen. So look at the Credit Card Choice Act, which has been a huge fight between the payments companies and the retailers. It has just paralyzed all kinds of financial legislation because the Senate does not want to get up there and give the middle finger to Visa, MasterCard, and the banks. But they also don't want to get up there and give the middle finger to like Amazon, Walmart, Target, et cetera. So what do? They just back out of the room, right? It's like the Homer backing into the hedge meme.
Oh, okay.
So you're just not going to have anything happen.
Oh, man, Austin, I hope that's not the case. I hope you're wrong.
I hope I'm wrong, too.
I think Austin is wrong. So his hope is going to happen. I think that this is not priced into the markets right now. There's too much uncertainty. There's a lot of other things that are happening, of course, as well, that is, I think, will play along with this. Tim Warren, who's on our channel quite a bit, he says, hey, I'm sorry, but saying that Bitcoin and crypto have already priced in the Clarity Act is one of the lowest IQ takes I've seen in a long term. I agree with you right now on this one, Tim. I think we are in a position where markets could respond in a very big way. And I think the fact that we're hearing that meetings are happening over the weekend with no phones, people are thinking the very exact same thing as well. All right, so let's dive into why there's some ideas here of why it's not baked in. And if you look at Genius Act as an example, here's just a quick event layer of what happened after the Genius Act was passed. And you'll notice Stripe, of course, jumped in. Also, Zelle jumps in. Just, these are less than 2 months after. 50 days on Rails acquisition by Ripple, 160 on Circle and Ripple and Paxos, and Fidelity receiving OCC conditions. World Liberty Fi jumps in at 173. You get it. The point is the activity started after the act went through. And that is the point I think we are in right now. Let's go over and we'll take a look at the stablecoin chart here on the metrics. And I'm out here hovering around, March or so. This is pre-Genius Act coming back in 2025. And as you'll see here, okay, stablecoins are starting to join the roster and start to jump in. And more are coming in. And then, of course, the passage of Genius takes place. And then, boom, all sorts of new stablecoins start to happen, and the volume starts to explode on stablecoins, as you can see, just absolutely getting into the market. And that's why I think we're in the same kind of scenario here with Genius and Clarity. All right, so let's just take Ripple for an example. After July 18th of last year, this was their line list of acquisitions. So literally they had everything fired and ready to go. And we've talked about this on the show before, but Rail was purchased, 200 million, 20 days after. 90 days, it was G Treasury, Hidden Road, 98 days, closing that deal. This is where we are right now. I anticipate we are going to see major acquisitions or major in-kind partnerships with companies like Ripple and possibly Circle and others. Now, remember, Ripple tried to acquire Circle. I think Ripple might actually go after a major, and I'm talking about well beyond the value, all because of what's going on in the market right now. And I'll explain a little bit more on this really quick. Before I do that, I want to show you a clip because this is Garlinghouse talking about this right now. Listen in.
Last year, you brought on Bank of New York Mellon as one of your custodians, your stablecoin, correct?
Yep, yeah.
And you also have a conditional charter from the OCC on the bank side. Would you buy a bank? Or would you team up with a bank in a way, because you have 4,200 in the country?
I'm going to dodge part of your question. I'll answer some.
I figured you would.
We want stablecoins to impact in a positive way corporates, banks, what have you. And I'm going to skip the question, will we ever buy a bank? They're our customers.
Excuse me.
All right, guys, let's just be honest here. You saw the smile on Garlinghouse's face. He knows what's up. This is going to be an acquisition zone for Ripple. The likelihood of them going into the banking business in a big way. Now, also, one of the names mentioned in that, BNY Mellon, one of their major custodians. This could get big very quickly, especially once Clarity. It's also why you've seen Garlinghouse come out in public and say, we just need to get this through because it's likely there is a major trigger about to pull for what's going to happen with Ripple. Here's another example of this when you get clarity out of an industry. When Polymarket essentially was able to get clarity on their own industry, what happened? You had the ICE, of course, investing $2 billion into Polymarket. This was a major move going into it. And let's take further into this. I want to show you something right here that I think a lot of people are sleeping on. The SEC just defined a new model for stablecoins where right now it's a 2% haircut on stablecoins as opposed to the 100%. Let me show you something right here. This was Hester Paris explaining this, that the SEC staff will not object if broker-dealers apply a 2% haircut rather than a punitive 100% haircut on proprietary positions in qualifying stablecoins when calculating net capital, meaning balance sheet. This is huge. It is a much bigger deal than it sounds, and it could reframe the entire market going forward. So from what I was just showing you there, these are all kind of under the radar policies that happened after Genius Act. All of these are being implemented now. They're going to have big ripples in the market for sure. The likelihood is it's going to continue, but at a much more accelerated pace when clarity goes through. So be on the lookout. These are the kind of things that are these hidden little nuances that only the bank architects understand what it really means in the underlying markets of where crypto and TradFi are going to converge. So you watch it. Speaking of converging, here's a good example right here. This is the Federal Reserve, guys. That's the Federal Reserve saying that Kalshi and the rise of macro markets are now here. Predictive markets offer a new, let me zoom in on that for you guys, a new market-based approach to measuring macro expectations in real time. They're evaluating now prediction market implied forecasts from Kalshi and basically applying this to what they're doing right now because it is overseen by who? The CFTC. You get this hopefully in the way that I'm explaining it, in the sense that this is going to be much bigger as we start to see many of these major organizations implement what's going to come out of Clarity. So this could get kind of crazy. Just the movement that we saw right there with the Federal Reserve and Kalshi activated some of the market shills that are out there. And one of them, you will recognize him. It's Christie. Take a look at what he had to say.
Former New Jersey Governor Chris Christie, he's been outspoken on the rights of states to regulate sports gambling. And quick disclosure, we should tell you that CNBC and Kalshi have a commercial relationship that includes CNBC having a minority investment in that company. And of course, we run lots of different Kalshi
yeah, we do.
Data on our screen and discuss it. Good morning.
You know, this is a fight that I started in 2012. They're violating laws in all 50 states. Utah, we don't want it. They're saying, too bad, you're going to get it anyway. I have nothing against Kalshi or Polymarket. Register, get licensed, and pay your taxes.
They would say they're not, all of those states have not filed suits, though, yet.
Not all, but it's coming.
What do you think is driving this?
I think there's lobbying money involved, huge amount of cash.
You are, though, being paid by the Gaming Association, which represents the interests of those who have already followed the state path.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, guys, let me kind of explain this right here. So Chris Christie, big proponent of the gaming industries. We know that the gaming industries are at sheer threat of what's going on with it. Polymarket. Now the CFTC has come directly out. Mike Seeley came on the other day and said, we are going full guns a-blazing at any state who tries to override our basically rights to dictate where this market is going. Chris Christie just got his head handed to him. Now, remember, though, that CNBC is also a major partner of Kalshi. So there are equal narratives being played out on both sides. But I think the cornerstone of what's going on right now is where the CFTC's position is. And that is they're going to go after states that try to dictate new rules in this market. This is going to get big. Let me go to something that just kind of shows you where the market was. This was a year ago we did this video. This is a Biden judge that actually absolutely destroyed Senator Warren in reference to the legality of prediction markets and that they are legal. This was already been ruled on, already done. Chris Christie is basically shilling out there for the gaming industry. He's going to lose. Prediction markets, I think, are here to stay, and the CFTC is going to run this one going forward. One last thing I want to show you here, just to kind of, I'm zoomed up on this. Kalshi's congressional control contracts do not involve activity that is unlawful against any federal or state law. This is the thing that they are all trying to fight. This is where the states are trying to come in and say this is not, obviously this has already been ordered by a United States district judge. So I think the CFTC is in a good position. Why do I say all this? Because these are the kind of things that are going to happen, but now much more frequently in a lot more areas of the finance system when clarity goes through. So being baked in, not even near. And the fact that we have this happening this weekend, be ready, guys. This one is going to be huge. If you like this video, hit like and subscribe, drop a comment down below, and also join our free private member group. The link is in the description.